What's up, my doers and duets? In today's episode, it's much sunnier than last time, and in this episode we're actually going to work on our lower legs as we try to get our vertical jump that much higher. All right, here we go. Alright, what's more exciting than some front squats? If you're trying to jump a little bit higher, it's the most important thing is you gotta get depth. Obviously, depending on your mobility, some people may not be able to go low, but if you can actually go below parallel, which means below the knees, that actually is better for your knees and also activates more muscles. You have your calves actually activating, you have your glutes activating, and like I mentioned before, that entire posterior chain, you're gonna have much more force output every time that you jump. So important to look at deep squats, specifically front squat or back squat, but you gotta make sure that they go past parallel. There's actually a study that I put in the description below, deep back squats compared to partial squats, and they saw that the deep squats, both front and back, saw a growth of 1 inch in the vertical jump. 1 inch in a vertical jump is very big deal. And then the other side with the partial squats, which is quarter squat gang, those are the people that you never see them break parallel, you never even see them get to parallel when they're squatting. Those types of squats, they didn't see any improvement at all in their vertical jump. So if you're doing your squats, it's much deeper than that, and you gotta get real low. Now that we got that covered, it's time for me to step my game up. I like using step ups just because they're able to target my hamstrings, and also I'm able to get my glutes so I can have a better force output, because force output is why I'm going so deep on my squats, and that's why I need to make sure that my glutes and hamstrings are all firing just right so everything is evenly balanced as I get stronger. All right, let's keep going. All right, so I'm not done obliterating my hamstrings yet, but I want to instruct you guys on how to actually do a good morning, and luckily I got my homie right here, Tao Physique.
What's up, guys?
My man is always spaced out. He's always in a different magical world, coming up with awesome stuff. So Tao over here is gonna help me, and he's gonna hold the camera, and I'm gonna explain to you guys what you need to do when you're trying to work on a good mornings. All right, you ready, Tao?
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go.
Ready.
All right, so when I'm working on good mornings, it's pretty much like a squat, but a lot of times I see people when they're doing good mornings, they keep, like, let's look down a little bit, they keep their feet together and then back up top. So then when they bend over, and then they wonder why they have lower back problems. What you want to do when you're doing a good morning is you want to have a wide stance.
So that's easy to get in the back?
A little bit. All right, kids in the back gotta be quiet. All right, teachers talk. Anyways, so what you want to pretend is if you're a basketball player, you want to pretend like you're boxing somebody out. So when you box somebody out, you don't just bend over and then just walk backwards. What you do is you bend your knees and then you push your hips backwards. If you're a lady, this is like twerking. So when you're doing good mornings, you want to have your feet straight. And then, of course, I'm going to pretend like I'm squatting. My feet are straight.
See that?
I go in.
Look at that booty. Yeah.
Hey. Right. And then how it looks is I'm not bending directly over. I'm bending my knees, pushing my hips back as far as I can go. Right back. Slow going back. Try to feel the hamstring stretch, and then bam.
So is it like Legally Blonde, where they say, pop it?
Bend and snap.
Oh, bend and snap. Yeah, you're right.
Bend and snap.
So teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have to be blonde to be able to do this kind of exercise?
Oh, okay. The good thing is that all lives matter over here, so you don't have to worry about being a blonde to be able to do good mornings and the bend and snap just right. Thanks, Tomei, for holding the camera. Let me get it back. All right, so we're done with all that, and then we just finished basically the workout. So the good thing is that now this is basically the third day of week 1, and the most important thing that you need to focus on is that I had to make sure that I still challenge myself as I go forward. I know in previous videos I was talking about that because it's week 1, you don't want to go too hard, but part of working out is also you have to progress. So this is almost like a warm-up leading up to week 2. So that's why when I was working on my front squats, I ended up doing 225, doing 8 reps. So what that does is it challenges me, and it gets to where my rate of perceived exertion, the amount of energy that I'm putting forth, just making sure that I really bust my behind to get stronger, is getting there, so that in week 2, as I load in more, because this is the first phase, which is the hypertrophy phase. So now starting into week 2, every time that I do a leg day or an upper body day, it's going to be more volume leading up into the intensification phase, where I'm actually going to reduce the volume, but I'm actually going to make it to where it's much more intense. Hence why it's the intensification phase. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to recap a little bit more about what I did and go into further as to why eccentrics, which is the descending portion of the squat, is much more effective than you think, and you're much stronger that way. Eccentric loading is very important if you're trying to get stronger, if you're trying to add muscle mass, if you're trying to increase your flexibility, and also if you're trying to prevent injury. Eccentrics, in the general sense, is the negative portion of a bench or the descent of a squat. We're trying to gain strength here, so you want to use the areas that you're strongest in. You can lower more weight than you can press more weight above your head. When you descend with control, it is much more effective that way. The more you work on your eccentric based training, your tendons are actually going to get that much stronger too. And that's why a lot of times when I'm coaching somebody on their squats, I don't care how fast they get down, because a lot of times people try to crash down, and then what happens is they have knee valgus. So you really want to control your eccentric loading, because if you keep working on that, it's actually going to make your concentric loading even better. Another addition is that you actually increase your flexibility the more that you actually do eccentric loading when you're doing squats. For example, hip mobility can increase just because as you are having more muscle growth, you're gonna have the muscle lengthen, and as it lengthens, that means it's more flexible. And finally, one of my favorite benefits about eccentric loading that I could have used a long time ago, especially with my injury where I ruptured my Achilles, is that it helps strengthen your tendons. Part of it is you have to think of your tendons as though they're springs. It's not necessarily steel cables. So when it springs, the more that you're doing eccentric loading, I know I can't say how many times, like talking about eccentric loading, let's just say every time that you're going down, the control that you're having, and as I mentioned, because your concentric power gets stronger, because the more tension that you have, as you're doing this, you're extending just how far the spring can go. So what actually starts happening, it helps with your mechanics. It helps sprinters. Sprinters are athletes that also benefit greatly from eccentric loading. And as you keep working on that, you're gonna get your tendons much stronger, and that is why I really needed to talk to you guys about eccentric loading. So hopefully after that whole spiel about eccentric loading, now you understand the importance of controlling your tempo, the importance of making sure that the volume is actually heavier on your eccentric loading, and then also understanding that your eccentric loading can strengthen your tendons and also make you more flexible so that you can avoid injuries and also get stronger. Well, that does it for me here at SportsCy. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time as we talk more about the upper body to try and get our vertical jump that much higher. Thanks for checking me out.